Hey, what's up? I'm back. Hey, what's up, my YouTube fam? This is Larry with the Best Credit Repair channel. I apologize for being missing for a while. Just had a lot going on. For some of y'all who do follow me know I was working in Dallas, so I was really trying to focus on getting, finding the right employment here in Houston. I finally found a great job for me here, which is going to allow me to be able to push more videos out, push more content out, and kind of expand the channel. I'm working with somebody on my website, going to be bringing a lot of great things to y'all, be able to do a lot more on their website, be able to answer questions, look out, blog, buy different packages. There's going to be so much more that we're going to be bringing to this channel. Just to make sure I'm helping people improve on their credit. So a lot of great things coming. I'm still, even me, I'm steady building, growing my credit profile. So just to show y'all it can be done. I just got my X1 card just in the last 30 days. I've probably added about 20 or 50, about $60,000 in personal credit just in the last 30 days, because it's the access to money. There's, as you know, there's other investments. I was trying to look for investment properties, but since the interest rate, a lot of things are going on. Just not a great time right now, but I am still looking at opening up a franchise or getting into a franchise. That is still going. I'm just setting my foundation for liquidity, and some other things are going on. So just to show y'all you can grow your wealth, you can definitely continue to move and become more financially stable and financially free. But today we're going to be talking about a lot of changes that have been happening. The information that the CFPB is putting out. We're going to be talking about the new information when you're trying to validate a debt, what they should be sending you, how it should be sent to you. We're going to cover all that. I'm going to cover some other little informational pieces about what Democratic senators are calling for action with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. We're going to cover a little bit that. We're going to talk about a little bit of the letter that they sent to the Consumer Financial Bureau, the senators, and we're just going to talk about some other things that you definitely need to understand and you need to go. All this important information, y'all know, if you need it, let me know. A lot of this stuff is added in my master dispute package. There was quite a few people that were asking me about it, but you know me, I'm just not about just selling y'all anything. There was some other information, and a lot of this CFPB information I wanted to add to the package, especially about some of the changes on how to validate debt, what information they should be sending, which we're going to cover. I wanted to add that to the package. The package is good. It's ready to go for everybody who is interested in that master dispute package. Some people have already emailed me. I'm going to email them, say, hey, it's ready to be purchased if you want to purchase it. Once this website gets up, it's going to make it so much easier. You'll be able to go up in there. We're going to kind of break down a lot of the different areas. Some people may want to buy the whole package. Some people may just want to buy certain areas of it. We're going to have all that stuff breaking down. So you'll be able to download that information. You don't have to wait for me. You don't have to email me. We don't have to go through all the extra stuff, which allows me to have more time to do other things to bring y'all great information. So, but I want to say thank you for all my new subscribers that are coming out. I'm definitely going to be pushing out more, and I'm definitely going to be talking more about investments. This is a great time for new investors to get into the stock market, and a lot of these great companies that have great fundamentals that are just taking a punishment right now. It's a great time to get in. Buy, buy, buy. Now, you may hear a lot of negative about the stock market and it's down and all that, but just remember, they're really catering to people that have invested all this money into the stock market. You, as a new investor, is a prime opportunity for you to get in, and as the market change, you will come out on the top and make plenty of money. You got to remember, millionaires were made after the housing market crashed. Millionaires were made in 2012. Millionaires were made after COVID, from the stock market taking a punishment and people buying. So it's a great opportunity. We're going to be talking more about that. There's going to be some other classes I'm going to be adding. I'm thinking about just opening up another brokerage account and just do a you know, a YouTube brokerage account beside my personal brokerage account to go over things, and then we walk through things I'm investing, things you can invest into, and how the market is going up and down and how we can make money. So I'm definitely want to do that to help people get in that don't not investing and losing a great opportunity that is faced right in front of them, and with good companies that they're not buying, because if you look at the history of the stock market, it will turn around. It's always, there's been down years and there's been years there is pop up. But how do you position yourself to be able to make that money and to set yourself up, right? So we're going to definitely be getting into that. But let's talk about the CFPB. But first, please like, subscribe, and share this channel. This channel is all about keeping it real. You know, it's not a whole bunch of fluff. There's not a whole bunch of BS on this channel. This channel, I don't give you this information because I'm trying to get all these viewers just to come in and give y'all clickbait on stuff that I know in this industry and working with it, I know doesn't work, or the chances of it working. And so I get so many emails from people who went out and bought these expensive packages, and these people just feeding y'all a bunch of fluff. And because we're so anxious to get our credit report back from mistakes that we've made, that sometimes we just make bad decisions instead of building your credit. I've talked to clients. Some people are trying to get one item off. So you spend more time trying to get one item off than building your credit report. And there's ways to build your credit report, right? You can overshadow negative things, and eventually that stuff is going to fall off anyway, right? So, but how do you build your credit? So if that one item, you get a substantial jump. Some things you just not going to get off your credit report. It's accurate. It's reporting accurate. You can try to get it off, but a lot of times you're spinning your wheels and trying to get something off that's just not going to come off, instead of trying to fix the things that you can get off and improve your credit report. So in this channel, I want to bring you real deal information. I want to be honest with you about it, because somebody's got to give y'all the honest picture and not feed y'all a whole bunch of BS because it sounds good and people try to manipulate something that's being said or they read into something that is referred to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So remember, the Fair Credit Reporting Act is what you sue the credit bureaus for and who you're going to sue the original creditors for. So when all these people coming out with these other manuals that try to use that when they already created a law and a manual directly, specifically for the Fair Credit Reporting Act, they really kind of feeding you a bunch of fluff. But it is what it is, you know. But I'm not going to feed you that fluff. I'm going to keep it real with you. So again, let's go into what the the consumer financial. So they really talked about going out and having these debt collectors provide better and more information to you. I did put a dispute letter in my master dispute package for people to want to get it, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to cover that, and it's in the CFPB report that kind of breaks down what they should be doing, a collector, and what you should be doing when you're trying to validate debt. The first thing we want to talk about is open your mail. Do not avoid debt collectors. Don't let nobody tell you to avoid a debt collector, because sometimes people have done that and put themselves in a worse position. You face it head on. You face it head on and you attack it. There's so many different things that debt collectors and they mistakes that they made, but because you ignored it, you didn't head it on, that you miss out on those things and could get that stuff deleted off your credit report, right? So you definitely, you want to take them on head on. right? You know, the first thing you want to look at, and I broke a lot of this. We're going to cover a lot of this stuff on violations, but some of this stuff you need to realize just in a simple letter, just in the covering of a letter, if it even has a debt collector's name on the envelope, that's a violation right there, and you can get out of that debt. You can take them to court. You assume it's a Fair Debt Collection Practice Act violation. There are a lot of violations that people don't know. If you, in the glass link of a letter, can see that that is a debt collection letter in that glass link, you could sue them. That is a debt collector violation. Those simple things like that people don't teach you, we teach you on this channel, right? Because those are the things you can actually sue a debt collector for. So throwing those letters away, throwing and not heading, you may be missing a prime opportunity to get out of that debt and even sue the debt collection agency for the violation, right? So let's cover some of the things that that you need to do. So before, you send out a validation, and they'll just send you a copy of a bill, right? Electronic copy of a bill, and say this debt is validated. The CFPB say, no, we're not going to do that anymore. You're going to have to be a little bit more specific about this debt and why this consumer owes you this debt. Now, there's a whole lot you're going to hear a lot of people say a debt collection company don't have a right. They didn't sign the original creditor. But in all actuality, they could buy a debt. They could legally buy a debt if they could legally prove that the debt is accurate, that they purchased the debt legally, and they have all the information on that debt, that there is a very good chance that they have a legal right to pursue this debt against you. So don't ignore it. People get sued all the time and ignore the debt collection, get sued, and the courts turned around and say they did have a right to they had a right to collect this debt against you, right? But there's a lot of instances where they don't. They don't have all the information. They can't prove that the information is accurate. They can't tell you enough about the account, how the account was used, what kind of purchases you made, when did you make, what was all the payments that you made, what were the amounts of the payment. So how can they legally prove that that debt is yours and that the amount is right? Those are all the things that you got to be paying attention to. And don't assume because that, yes, I had that credit card, yes, I charged it up, that yes, they have a legal right to collect on it, and they could prove that they have a legal right and prove that the amount that they're saying that you owe is actually an accurate amount that they owe you, right? So we definitely want to make sure all those things. But information that should be shown, when you get and you're sending off and they just, if they send you a letter or you notice something's on your credit report and you ask for validation, first thing you need to do is you need to ask him, I'm reaching out to you about this debt, and the key things you need to be asking, what is the total amount? What interest has occurred on this account? What is the breakdown of this account? Were there any additional fees that were added to the amount of this account, right? And do they have any statements, not just one statement, the statements that could prove that this is an accurate account? They need to break it down, right? You need to write, it says you need to write a letter and understand that, and in your letter say, I am validating this debt, and at this point, all collection activities must stop. So they shouldn't be reporting on your credit report. They shouldn't be sending you other stuff or trying to get you to pay on a debt until they have issued you or sent you the information that you requested when validating this debt, right? So those are some of the things you definitely have to do. I'm going to read some of the stuff on this information, on this letter. This is actually what the letter should look like. So it should say what the address is of the debt collection company. And based on, it should be the corporate address, not a PO address. You want the corporate address, right? So they should have the corporate address within that letter, right? The person who it goes to, it should have a reference number that references to that collection agency, but they also should have the actual account number that this debt is from. They can't just send you a reference number from that debt collection agency and say you owe money to Bank of America, but not give you what was the account of that Bank America credit card or personal loan that you're saying I owe. It should has the date of the amount owed as of when we received this, as of hypothetically January 2nd, 2017, you owe $234,234, right? Between, it should tell you between the date they received it and today's date that you received it, these are the charges that have occurred on this debt. There were charges of the amount of $75 in interest. There was a charge of amount of $25 of other fees. What are those other fees? And then if you made any payments, which you shouldn't be making payments to collection agencies, right? And then it should break down, this is the total amount you owe on this debt. It should also tell you, how do you dispute this debt? It should tell you, all to dispute all or part of this debt, we will assume that our information is correct. So if you don't ask for validation, they're going to assume it's correct. It has to be in there. If you write us by, it's going to have a date in there. We must stop collection of any amount you dispute until we send you information that shows you owe this debt, right? And then it should have, you may use the form below, or you may write to us without the form, and you may also include supporting documents to we accept the disputes electronically. So it should have a place where you can go in and go into a website and dispute that electronically if you don't want to write them, or if you want to write them. Those things must be in that first letter that they send you. It should always also break down, what else can you do about this debt collection? Right to ask for name and address of the original creditor, which you should be asking for. You may use the form below to, and it's going to have this in there too. It's going to tell you that you can use these forms to request this information. Then at the bottom, it should have a chopped up, where you cut across, that you're going to send back on along with the letter that you may be disputing. It must have that part where you have to cut it off in response to this dispute. If you get one of these, it doesn't have that, there's a violation. File a complaint with the CFPB, download the letter that they send you saying this is a violation based on your Regulation F rules that you provided to debt collectors on how this stuff should be handled. There is a violation, right? I have a letter for this in my master dispute package, and I have all the information from the from the Financial Consumer Protection Bureau on all the steps to take about these debt collectors and how you're going to go and validate and dispute this debt information. The other thing we want to talk about is, and this is what we talked about earlier, was what is unfair practice by a debt collector. And we're going to cover some of these things that some people may know, some people may not know, but we're going to cover this stuff. Examples, right? For example, a debt collector may not try to collect charges in addition to a debt unless they're allowed by the contract or state law. So what they mean by that, if you have a credit card you agreed to a contract, interest rates, whatever other fees, if there were annual fees or whatever fees within that contract. They cannot collect anything outside of that. That's why medical debts you shouldn't be paying interest on a medical debt. And if they're trying to charge you interest on a medical debt, they have to prove that that medical debt, the original amount, the original contract, or whatever you signed when you went to the doctor, allow for interest to be charged on that medical debt. They just can't just say, we're going to charge you interest because you didn't pay on that debt. We're going to keep hitting you with interest. They can't do that. So make sure you pay attention to that, right? They can't ask you for a post-dated check. Deposit a post-dated check early. So I don't send post-dated checks. My thing with debt collection, and this is in my master dispute package, and people have bought it, people have used this strategy and come back and say, hey, it worked. I'm big on restrictive endorsements. I'm going to create a contract with you. I'm going to use a personal check. And be honest with you, I'm going to trick you in taking this amount, right? Because I'm going to have my check that you deposited in my account, the terms and conditions that I've written on my check along with this letter, and you agreed to them. You endorsed it, you agreed to them, all of that stuff like that. So I don't believe in sitting. I believe in paying everybody at one time. And then what's so powerful about the restrictive endorsement, if I owe $500, I may only send them $175. If they cash that $175, then they just agreed, and that was the settled amount they agreed to. That's what's so powerful about that restrictive endorsement. People use it. I've been doing probably one of the few people that talk about this on YouTube that use this strategy that has always worked, because I am going to create a legal document now. You can act crazy and not want to abide, not take it off my credit report. We can just go to court and we'll just let a judge show that you agreed to this, and then show you all the documents, the check and everything else. You endorsed it, and then we'll just take it from there, right? So it's a powerful tool. They can't communicate with you about a debt by postcard. First of all, it's showing your information. You can't do that. Use any language or symbols on an envelope for correspondence with you other than its address that indicates it is a debt collector, right? So be careful on when you look at those letters. If there's any indication that there is a debt collector, that is a violation, right? You want to keep good communication. So a lot of people ignore them. You don't want to ignore them. One thing, if you get somebody to call you about a debt and say that there's going to be legal proceedings against you, that's somebody probably with a zombie debt. That their only tactics, which is illegal, is to scare you into making a payment, right? Telling you that somebody's going to serve you papers and all this other type of stuff. They should not be doing that. If they're going to do it, they should have did it and be done with it. Right? They shouldn't be threatening you. And if they threaten you and you don't receive anything, that's another violation. You can't threaten to sue somebody and then don't sue them, right? You can say you could be possibly sued for this transaction, but that's not telling them that you're suing them. That's just saying that under these conditions, I can take it further and maybe file suit against you. But that's different from telling somebody I'm going to sue you. Falsely claiming that a person contacted you as an attorney, they can't do that, right? If it's false, now if it's an actual attorney, that's different. Even if it's an attorney office, that person is talking to you can't say they are an attorney if they're not an attorney, right? Threats to have you arrested, we talked about that. Threats to do things that cannot legally be done, or threats to do things that debt collector have no intentions of doing, which we just talked about. So these are things you definitely need to understand, right? There are so many unfair things that debt collectors do, and if you're not aware of them, you make mistakes, right? Don't make payment arrangements with debt collectors, right? You want to pay that debt one time, and you want to make sure you get it removed. Now, July is coming up. with all this changes in medical debts, I'm hoping that people that have these small medical debts are getting them paid, because they will automatically fall off your credit report come next month, right? So probably in August, at the latest in August, those medical debts will be voided and removed from your credit report that are paid. That is going to give a lot of people a substantial jump in their credit score, right? So, unknown caller. So that is one thing we definitely, sorry about that, probably somebody called client calling me. You definitely want to take care of these medical debts. If you have a chance of getting them paid, they will be coming off your credit report. Now, come January of next year, anything under $500 will come off, right? So there really are so many people have medical debt, medical debts on their credit report that is hindering their credit score. So you definitely want to do that. Try to get that stuff paid. Try to get that stuff so it can come off your credit report instead. I do want to say something. A lot of people make so many mistakes focusing on their credit score. There are so many factors that come in your credit score. It's just not negative items. It could be how much debt you carrying, right? How young your credit is. What kind of credit do you have on it? Do you have like a firm, some of these quick pay little accounts that actually hurt your credit score, because it's a sign that your credit is not well enough or healthy enough to go out and get a standard loan from a standard bank or credit union, like a firm and Snap and some of these other places that will instantly give you credit plus charge you a higher interest. Those things actually hurt your credit score. So a lot of times people get too much, and you could have paid them all on time. Never missed a payment. They're paid off, but they will hurt your credit score because it's an indicator. Remember, the algorithm has a lot of, we don't know all the things that affect your score, which is confusing. And they don't endorse that information to us, which I don't know why, right? But they'll tell you just the, certain things like your utilization, your payment history, new credit, inquiries. But there's so many other factors that affect your credit score. So, but people get so caught up in that credit score. Listen, and I'm going to keep it real with you. My credit score, and I have good credit cards. I have over $100,000 in personal credit. And my credit score right now is probably right at about a 705. Right? But I understand how credit works. So many people are trying to focus on 800 or 770. Hey, I have low interest car loans. I have a car loan with Toyota for my Mercedes. So I have 3 Navy Federal credit cards equaling up to, I have one that's 23, I have one that's 15, and I have one that's 3, right? You're talking about over $40,000 in credit cards, right? But I focus on my credit profile. I don't worry about that credit score. I look at my credit report and what I can put on my credit report that let them know I can handle any type of credit that you give me. I have a mortgage, I have a car loan, I have credit cards. I have credit cards that I've been having 0 balance and I keep a low utilization, right? My credit, I probably have an 800 if I wouldn't apply for new credit, but every time I apply for new credit, it lowers the length of how young credit. But when they look at my credit report, they're like, well, hey, this dude got high limit cards. He's got a mortgage he pays. He's got a card note that's a high card note that he pays, never been late, right? So all those things, when they look, they say, okay, I know he can handle this. And he doesn't keep a lot of debt, right? I don't have a lot of debt. I don't have high debt on my credit report. Plus, because how I fell out my credit and the other things that's going on with my income. So income plays a part. You make a bunch of money, you can pay all this stuff. So, but don't get caught up. So many people get caught up on a credit score, right? They credit score. And instead of just looking at my credit profile, everything on my credit, how could I strengthen this to make it look better? And that's the mistake a lot of people make, is they so focus on that credit report, right? The other thing you have to look at, that is how people grab you in to buying their stuff, telling you they could raise your score to this high limit. You got to understand the game. Like, you never hear me talking about raising somebody's score to 750, 800, because that's not what's most important. Your credit profile and how it looks, what you have on your credit, and how you're handling the things on your credit, and what you're putting. You got some of these people having you putting stuff on your credit report that is not good stuff. Yeah, it may give you some good payment history, but the credit, the app looks at it as that this is probably the only type of credit you can get. Focus on getting your limits up. Getting this, if you got to get a secure card, every time you get paid, go increase the limit on that card, right? Start putting positive stuff on your credit report, right? We'll talk about certain things that you can put on there in another video, but you have to look at what you're putting on your credit report and in your credit report that can help. So I just want to kind of cover that with you. The next thing I want to talk about was eye-opening, and I want y'all to really pay attention to this, right? Because the CFPB put a report out on the consumers in minority neighborhoods more likely to have disputes on their credit report. So black and brown people, excuse me, this is an eye-opening report. I'm gonna put this in my master dispute package so you can read it, or if you want it, I'll send you the link to get it. If this is you want to read this article, but this was put out in November of 2021, and I'm gonna read a little bit of this to you. It says, in a report released in November the 2nd, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that credit report disputes more commonly occurred among consumers in minority black and Hispanic neighborhoods than consumers in majority white neighborhoods. New CFP Director Rohit, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, attributes this disparity to allege the error-ridden credit reports that are far too prevalent and may be undermining the recovery for minority consumers, meaning the equality of the minority consumers, right? So saying there's an unfair advantage that are happening in the brown and brown communities when it comes to your credit report. The Fair Credit Reporting allow consumers to file disputes with the credit bureau agencies if they believe an inaccuracy exists in their credit report. The Fair Credit Report then acquired the Fair Credit Reporting Act then requires the credit reporting agencies to conduct a reasonable investigation and correct inaccuracies discovered as a result in its investigation. The CFPB result seeks to document how disputes can appear in credit data, the characteristics of consumers whose disputes appear on their credit report, and what happens to accounts that have been reported as being disputed. The report cataloged that the percentage of auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and retail card accounts opened between 2012 and 2019 in which a dispute flagged appearance on an applicant's credit report. The report then isolated these statistics by various demographic categories based on census data for the areas in which the consumers reside. The result numbers showed that credit disputes currently among consumers residing in areas identified as majority black or Hispanic by census data. In particular, the results found that consumers residing in majority black neighborhoods were more than twice as likely to file credit report disputes than in majority white communities. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau reported concluded that this demographic disparity was strikingly, but also noted a few important caveats of this results. First, it noted that the census data on race and ethics strongly correlated with other characteristics that may often affect likelihood of disputes to appear on a consumer's record, most notably credit scores. The report acknowledged that may be that the disparity in dispute flag rates by census trace rates is part reflect the pattern in credit score. Second, the report noted that the consensus data on race is only proxy for the consumer actual race, and therefore it does not necessarily reflect the actual race of each consumer for whom a dispute flag appearance. And it goes on to that. So what I'm telling you is this, that we in these because we're in these areas that affect, it is limiting you from expanding, changing, growing your wealth, and getting out of these poverty-stricken areas that are riddled with, that are, and I don't say riddled because that's not a good word. It just says majority, black or brown communities. That's why you really should be focusing on how do I improve, living within my means on what I have so I can pay my credit, so I can build and open up other opportunities for financial freedom. And it's just the truth of it all. And that's what I wanted to kind of cover. Focus on those things. Don't get, and it takes time. It takes time to build that credit. It takes time to get where you, but starting today, you'll get there. I'm just telling you, just on my testimony, me and my wife, I improved her credit score from high 400s, low 500s in 15 months to over 700. She has an excellent credit report. She's bought her own vehicle. She's got a 2021 Dodge Grand Cherokee Limited. She has her own credit card. She has her own stuff. And it just changed. And we did all of this. We took 15 months to change that. We took 4 years to change our whole financial status once we got in this credit with investing, buying a home, selling a home. We done a lot, bought a new home, new build home. It's a lot of things can change, but it takes time. A lot of times you spend too much time looking for the gimmicks, and those gimmicks are setting you up for failure. So I'm just going to put that out there like that. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, and this is the last thing, the Democratic Party has put out letters to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau on there need to be changes. And there's some of the changes they're trying to do with this medical debt, with the thing I talked about earlier about how to dispute these debts that these debt collectors come after. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of change. These debt collectors are, they're going to start struggling because now paid collections come off. And then next year, they ain't even going, you can't even put one on a person's credit report unless it's over $500. So it's a lot of things going on that you definitely need to understand. That there's a lot of things that are happening, right? But there's one thing I'm just going to read. It's another letter that I got. And if you want this out, I can send it to you. It's the United States Senator. This was done in November the 10th, 2021. In 2012, the FTC found that 1 in 5 consumers had errors in at least one of their credit reports, and 5% of consumers had errors that were economically damaging. In 2015, a follow-up study showed the FTC found that nearly 70% of the impacted consumers surveyed 3 years earlier continued to dispute information on their credit report 3 years after, right? Most recently in 2021, Consumer Report survey found that more than 1/3 of the 6,000 participating consumers found at least one mistake on their credit report. So we know these are happening. So another thing I'm telling you, you have to be consistent. Understand the dispute. You're going to dispute, it comes back verified. You're going to do a method of verification, right? How did you come up with this result that you verified? You're going to always do a direct dispute to the consumer. You know it's inaccurate. Notify them you're reporting inaccurate information. Here is a copy of my credit report, from annual credit report, or from TransUnion, or from Equifax, or from Experian, and there's notably an inaccuracy on here, and I need you correct. I am putting you on notice, and I've also disputed this with the credit bureaus. Under Section 623, 1681 S2B, you are required to report accurate information. And then with the credit bureaus under 611, 1681I, it is your responsibility to conduct a reasonable investigation on this inaccurate information that is reporting on my credit report. So those are all the things that you definitely need to do. But again, I'll put up my email. Email is in the description. Please like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. I'm always glad to help people with the process. I don't have a problem setting up phone things. Again, I'm getting this website up. I have a great guy that if anybody want to get a website, I'll recommend them to you. Eric Williams. Shout out to him. He's getting my website together, and he's doing a fabulous job getting it out. So if you're looking for a great person that can put together a great interactive website because you got a business, reach out to me. I'll give you his contact. But it's so great. But if you have any questions, email me. If you want my master dispute package, email me. It's got a lot of information in there, and this information is that guides you into helping you know how to dispute. There's letters in there, there's information, there's restrictive endorsements, there's affidavits, there's tons of information in there to help you achieve what you need to achieve, right? So, and when you buy that package, I'm not these other people that you buy a package and I'm just disappearing. I got what I want. I know. I don't operate like that. If you got questions, you bought the package, I'm here to help you through your times of changing your life and getting your credit on par, right? That's what I do. That's what I do. And I enjoy doing it. I like doing it. I like helping people because I see how my life has changed, right? Now understanding credit and using credit to continue to grow my wealth. It's a beautiful thing. So if you got any questions, you know the deal. Hit me up. I appreciate it. These videos are going to start coming at you way more frequently. I'm going to get back on my live to answer questions. Probably be doing that this weekend, and then start doing my lives on the weekends, not on Monday. And it's going to be a lot of new things coming to this channel, investments, a lot of things are coming. So please subscribe, share the channel. This is Larry, keeping it real with you on the best credit repair channel, and I'm out.